They say the mind is your greatest weapon, but what if it's also your deadliest enemy? Think about it. Who told you you weren't good enough? Who whispered fear into your dreams? Who replayed your past like a prison movie on loop? It wasn't the world, it was your own mind. And here's the darkest truth. If you don't take control of it, it will quietly destroy everything you could have been. This isn't motivation. This is survival. Because either you learn to control your thoughts, or your thoughts will learn to control you. And once they do, they won't let go. They won't teach you this in school. That your mind, your very own mind, is the battlefield of your life. That every war you'll ever fight, every victory you'll ever earn begins not with what you say, not with what you do, but with what you believe, in silence, alone, with your thoughts. They told you to work hard. They told you to get a degree, a job, a plan. But no one warned you about the storm inside your head. No one taught you that if you don't command your thoughts will command you. You see, your mind is not neutral. It's either your servant or your master. It's either the instrument that builds your destiny or the saboteur that dismantles it piece by piece, slowly, silently, while you're too distracted to notice. And the world, it's full of noise, telling you who you should be, what you should fear, what you can't do. It's a whisper campaign of limitation injected into your thoughts through every scroll, every click, every casual conversation. And unless you guard your mind with discipline, you will become nothing more than the puppet of your environment. But those who rise, those who shatter ceilings and break chains, they do something different. They take the wheel. They train their thoughts like a warrior trains his sword, sharpened, deliberate, and dangerous in the right hands. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." That wasn't a metaphor. It was a warning. Because belief isn't just some spiritual suggestion, it's architecture. The mind builds what it believes. And if you let it believe weakness, it will build a prison of it. If you allow it to dwell in doubt, it will construct a ceiling you'll never rise above. Look around you. Everything you admire was once an invisible idea, planted in someone's mind, watered by conviction, nurtured by action, and built with sweat. The skyscraper, the smartphone, the airplane, the electric light bulb. Edison failed over 1,000 times, but he didn't let those failures define his mind. He didn't let the voice of the world outweigh the voice of his purpose, because he knew, control the mind, and you control reality. But here's the trap. Most people live in reaction. They wake up and receive the day. Instead of commanding it, they let social media set their mood. Let traffic define their patience. Let problems dictate their power. That's not living. That's mental slavery. So I ask you, who's in control? Is it you, or is it the opinions of others? Is it your vision, or is it your fear? Because you can't claim both. You either operate by design or by default. And if you want to build a life that's rare, you must train your mind to reject the average, to say no to shortcuts, to silence the internal chatter that says you're not good enough, and replace it with the roar of I will. No one becomes extraordinary by accident. They decide, then they discipline that decision every single day until the world has no choice but to bend to their focus. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." That's not a slogan. It's a spiritual law, a law as real as gravity. But most people never test it. They conceive the dream, but they never believe it. And without belief, there is no fuel. Without fuel, there is no motion. And without motion, nothing changes. Because your external world is a delayed reflection of your internal condition. You'll never out-earn your mindset. You'll never outperform your self-image. You'll never build a legacy while doubting the foundation. So ask yourself, what thoughts are you allowing to take root? What narrative are you repeating when no one's watching? Because repetition is reality, and if your self-talk is toxic, your future will be too. Do you think Carnegie built an empire by second-guessing his every move? Do you think Disney imagined the impossible by asking for permission? No, they went inward, they quieted the world, and they commanded their minds to serve the vision, no matter the odds. You have that same power, but you must awaken it. You must own it. You must train it like a warrior trains his reflexes, until discipline becomes instinct and instinct becomes legacy. Let the world call you obsessed, let them call you delusional, but never, never let them call you average, because the world was never changed by the passive. It was changed by those who dared to control their mind before it was controlled for them. And the truth is, most people will never even try. They'll live their entire lives letting the winds of circumstance push them back and forth, calling it fate, calling it reality, when in truth, it was just surrender. Surrender to distraction. Surrender to fear. Surrender to the loudest voice in the room instead of the deepest voice within. But you weren't born to surrender. You were born to rise, to lead, to dominate your doubts and turn them into fuel, to take your pain and sculpt it into power, to take the chaos in your mind and organize it into vision. And it starts with awareness. It starts when you become still enough to hear your own mind, to recognize the patterns that have kept you small. Because make no mistake, you've been programmed by parents who meant well but were afraid, by teachers who settled, by friends who quit on themselves and laughed when you tried not to. But your future cannot be written by their past. Your destiny cannot be dictated by their limits. You are the author now, and the pen is your mind. What you think, you become. Not once, not sometimes, but always. Let that truth slap you awake, because every complaint, every excuse, every delay is just proof that your mind has more control over you than you have over it. And that thinks today. From this moment you will speak with purpose. You will think with precision. You will walk with a vision so clear that doubt gets blinded by your presence. You will no longer be a prisoner of mood. You will no longer negotiate with procrastination. You will no longer ask for permission to dream big. You will speak life into your day before the world speaks noise. You will command the morning because how you start, you finish. You will meditate not to escape the world, but to master it. You will train your focus like a weapon because the world doesn't reward the distracted. It rewards the disciplined. Look at the greats. Muhammad Ali didn't just fight in the ring, he fought in his mind. He said, I am the greatest, long before the world believed him. Because belief comes before proof. It creates the proof. Ali didn't wait to feel confident. He spoke confidence into existence. He rewired his mind with conviction, repetition, and obsession. And so must you. Stop waiting for motivation. Start acting from identity. Because when your identity is rooted in power, your habits follow. You don't try to be great, you are great, and your actions reflect that. Let others scroll endlessly. Let them waste their years in comparison and comfort, but not you. You will rise before the sun because your vision doesn't sleep. You will sweat while they party. You will study while they coast. You will endure the silence, the solitude, the sacrifice, because you know what's coming. And when the world finally notices you, you'll already be 10 years ahead, not because you were lucky, but because you mastered the only thing that ever truly mattered, your mind. Understand this. Discipline is not punishment. It's liberation. It frees you from chaos. It frees you from emotional slavery. It frees you from regret. And clarity, real clarity, comes not from overthinking, but from consistent, aligned action. You don't need another podcast. You don't need another guru. You need command of your words, your schedule, your thoughts, your response to adversity. Because adversity is not the enemy. It's the test, the forge, the very thing that reveals whether you are a king or a coward, whether you bend or become. And the difference is not talent. It's not even intelligence. It's ownership of your mind. So stop blaming the world. Stop pointing at the economy, the algorithm, your upbringing, your boss. Those things are real, but they are not in charge. You are. And until you believe that with every cell in your body, you will remain at the mercy of forces you were meant to rise above. You want freedom, then earn it. Not through rebellion, but through self-command. Because no government, no company, no system has the power to enslave a man who controls his mind. The greatest war is silent. It happens every day, every hour, every thought, and most lose it without even knowing. But you were born to win it. So how do you win this silent war? You win it by refusing to be ruled by impulse, by training your mind to obey purpose, not feeling. You win it by building habits that serve your vision, even on the days your emotions try to betray you. Because feelings are fleeting, but purpose, real purpose, is permanent. The average man wakes up and lets the day decide who he'll be. The powerful man decides first, then carves the day to reflect that decision. That's not arrogance, that's authority. Because when you take authority over your thoughts, you take authority over your time, and when you own your time, you own your life. Think of Abraham Lincoln, a man who battled depression, loss, and civil war, but he didn't let his emotions govern him. He led a nation by first learning to lead himself. He knew the voices in his mind could be louder than the ones in Congress, and so he disciplined those voices. He spoke with restraint. He thought with depth. He acted with unwavering clarity. That's what self-control looks like. Control is not about domination. It's about direction. Not about suppressing your mind, but steering it, guiding it through the storm without letting it become the storm. The man who masters his mind doesn't need to dominate others. He doesn't need applause, validation, or vengeance. He is rooted, still unshakable. And that kind of man is rare, because that kind of man is dangerous, not to others, but to mediocrity, to the system, to the narrative that says you are a victim, you are broken, you are less. No, he is proof that a man can rise not by chance, but by choice. And it's all choice. Every moment, you are either reinforcing the old story or rewriting it. You are either obeying your distractions or executing your discipline. You are either fueling the beast or feeding the king. Which will it be? Let me be clear, this path is not easy. You will lose friends. You will be misunderstood. You will walk alone for long stretches of the climb, but you won't break, because solitude does not scare a man who knows where he's going. Silence doesn't shake a man who trusts his voice. There will be days the world screams at you to conform, to fit in, to fall in line, but you will not, because you've already chosen your identity. And it is not weak, it is not average, it is not reactive. You are the architect now, and architects don't build based on opinion. They build on principle. They use vision as their blueprint and discipline as their hammer. When life hits, when it gets messy, chaotic, painful, most people beg for comfort. But not you. You were made for the discomfort. You were made to stand in the fire until it bends to your will. You were made to feel the pain, look it in the eye, and choose growth anyway. You don't need perfect conditions. You need internal control. Because control is not about fixing the world, it's about mastering your response to it. That's the only real power that exists, the only freedom they can't take from you, the only kingdom that can't be conquered from the outside. And when you get there, when you truly own your mind, something changes. You stop chasing outcomes and start radiating certainty. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. You stop doubting yourself because every thought has been tested, sharpened, purified in the fire of truth. You begin to think in alignment, speak with conviction, act with precision, and move like a man who knows that life does not happen to him, it happens through him. That's the difference between the average and the elite. Not resources, not background, control. The elite don't hope they'll win, they expect it, because they've already won the battle that matters most, the one inside. And the good news, this power is available to you right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, right here, in this breath, in this choice, to say no to comfort, to say yes to purpose, to silence the noise, still the chaos, and listen, to take back your power, not through rage or rebellion, but through relentless daily self-mastery. The man who controls his mind controls his destiny. Because once you control your mind fully, ruthlessly, completely, you stop being driven by need and start being led by vision. You're no longer a beggar at the table of life. You become the builder of the table itself. You decide who eats. You decide what's served. You decide how far the feast goes. And that level of command only comes when your mind becomes your ally, not your enemy. But you must kill the weaker voice inside you first, the one that hesitates, the one that questions your worth, the one that says, maybe I'm not meant for greatness, because that voice is a liar. It was born from failure, raised in fear, and trained in mediocrity. And if you don't shut it down, it will shut you down. Greatness doesn't come to the loud, it comes to the intentional. The ones who act while others talk. The ones who grind in silence while others scream in ego. The ones who say no to 99 things so they can say yes to one thing and go all in. Think of Thomas Edison working tirelessly in darkness, chasing light while the world called him foolish. 10,000 failures, yet he never surrendered his mind. He didn't let the results define him, he let his vision define him. And because he mastered that one invisible force, he lit the world. And you carry the same spark, but it will remain just a spark unless you feed it with focus, with obsession, with warrior-level self-control. This is the real secret of the greats. They didn't just work harder, they thought differently. They rejected the comfort of ordinary thought. They trained their minds to see opportunity where others saw risk. They asked bigger questions. They fed their imagination instead of their insecurity. And every day they made one critical decision, to control the narrative inside their mind, before the world wrote it for them. You want to change your life? Start with your language, the words you use when you speak to yourself, because language shapes reality. And if your vocabulary is weak, your life will be too. Stop saying, I can't. Start saying, I haven't yet. Stop saying, that's not me. Start saying, that's who I'm becoming. Stop saying, it's hard. Start saying, it's necessary, because every word is a command to your subconscious, and your mind obeys without question. So speak like a leader. Think like a king. Move like a general, because you're not here to exist, you're Herlias to conquer. Not others, but the parts of yourself that keep running back to comfort. The part that still craves the easy path. The part that wants validation more than victory. That part has to die, not with anger, not with shame, but with clarity, with standards so high that mediocrity cannot survive in their presence. Control your inputs, because your inputs become your thoughts. Control your thoughts, because your thoughts become your habits. Control your habits, because your habits become your results. And control your results, because your results become your legacy. The mind you build in private creates the life you live in public. And if you've been coasting, if you've been waiting for some perfect moment to flip the switch, this is it. Right here, right now. You were not made for average. You were not designed for doubt. You were created in the image of fire, of steel, of relentless focus. And if you've lost your way, because success has a cost, and now you've paid it in full. But even now, something deeper is calling you. Because once you've paid the price, truly paid it, you realize success was never about the money, the mansion, the recognition. It was about who you became in the process. And that is the ultimate treasure. See, people think the reward is outside, the car, the house, the lifestyle. But the real reward, the priceless victory, is the fire inside that will never go out again. Because once you've awakened the beast, once you've endured the storms, once you've silenced the doubt with daily discipline, you're no longer playing the same game as the rest of the world. You're no longer running towards success. You are success in motion. You've trained your mind to command reality. You've taught your spirit to bend chaos into clarity. Your mind becomes still, clear, dangerous. Because now it is no longer pulling you in 1,000 directions. It is aimed, like a laser, like a bullet, like a man on a mission. And make no mistake, the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards precision. And the only way to become precise is to master the chaos inside. Look at every icon in history. Jobs, Jordan, Churchill, Roosevelt, Musk. They weren't loved in the beginning. They were mocked, judged, feared. Because when a man controls his mind, he becomes unpredictable, and the world fears what it cannot control. But they kept going because they didn't need the world's approval. They had their own. They weren't addicted to dopamine, likes, or validation. They were addicted to vision, addicted to purpose, addicted to building something that would outlive them. That's what happens when you shift from emotional reaction to emotional regulation. You become calm under fire. You smile when they doubt you. You work when they sleep. And the storm inside you begins to serve you, not destroy you. You start building mornings that win you the day. You eliminate decisions that drain your willpower. You automate your excellence with daily rituals. And slowly, you become the type of man who doesn't chase outcomes. He attracts them. Because power doesn't chase, it commands. Power doesn't beg, it builds. And power doesn't waver, it walks. Even when the path is dark, even when no one is clapping. Even when failure tries to pull you back down. You want to talk about freedom? This is freedom. When your peace is no longer for sale. When your focus is no longer hijacked by every ping and distraction. When your confidence is no longer based on results, but on the unshakable truth that you do the work, day in and day out, no matter what. You stop being the victim of circumstance and start becoming the cause of your own reality. You stop asking, will this work? And start declaring, I will make this work. You stop measuring progress in likes and start measuring it in discipline, in energy, in how ruthlessly you protect your standards. And those standards, they become sacred. You guard your time like royalty. You guard your energy like treasure. You guard your mind like a kingdom because it is one. But don't be fooled. The world will keep testing you. Every time you level up, a new test will arrive. And every test will ask you the same question. Are you still in control? Control isn't something you achieve once. It's something you choose daily. In the gym, in your calendar. In the conversation where you could react with ego, but choose purpose instead. Control means saying no when the world says yes. Control means acting now when your mind whispers later. Control means walking through fire and not letting it burn your identity. Because the man who controls his mind can't be manipulated. He can't be bought. He can't be broken. He is already whole. You think discipline is hard? Try living without it. Try waking up in regret every day. Try explaining to your future children why you never became the man you were meant to be. That's the real pain. That's the real cost. And you know what? You don't owe the world comfort. You owe the world example. You owe your name legacy. You owe your gift execution. You owe your breath purpose. So burn the excuses, bury the distractions, starve your weakness, and feed your greatness until it becomes all that remains. Because the final truth is this: if you don't control your mind, someone else will. And if you allow that, if you surrender your most powerful asset, you've already lost. But if you fight, if you discipline, if you command your thoughts like a warrior king, then nothing can stop you. The battlefield is yours. The weapon is already in your hands. Now control your mind, and if you're still standing here, still listening, still breathing, still burning inside, then that means your choice has already begun. The war is not over, but something inside you shifted. A spark lit, a truth remembered. Because deep down you've always known you weren't meant for mediocrity. You weren't built to blend in. You were forged for fire. You were shaped for more. And maybe life tried to make you forget. Maybe it buried you under bills, under betrayal, under broken promises. Maybe it tried to convince you that this is just how it is. But no, this isn't how it ends. This is where it starts. This is where the real version of you walks out of the shadows, looks life in the eye and says, I am done being ruled by fear. I am done being a servant to self-doubt. I am done letting the world write my story. Because now you remember who you are. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not your circumstances. You are the author. You are the builder. You are the commander of your mind. And the commander doesn't look backward. He sets his eyes forward, steady, unblinking, unchanging. Because he knows everything starts with thought. Every dream, every movement, every empire. The Wright brothers thought about flight. And while the world laughed, they built wings. While the world mocked, they took flight, because their mind was already flying before their feet left the ground. Walt Disney imagined magic on dirt, where no one saw anything but empty land. But he saw castles. He saw dreams walking, because he had learned to close his eyes to the world and open them inside his mind. And that inner vision became the outer empire. And you, yes, you carry that same tool. But tools mean nothing without use, without training, without mastery. So ask yourself, will you walk through this life as a slave to your own thoughts? Or will you master them, bend them, command them, until your mind becomes your most powerful servant? Will you wake up each day in submission, waiting for the mood to hit, the motivation to strike? Or will you rise like a general, on time, on fire, on mission, with a mind locked into its purpose like a guided missile? You are not here to be entertained. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be legendary. And legends don't beg. They build, they bleed, they burn, and they keep moving forward, not because they feel strong, but because they decided to be strong. You have that same decision right now. This world is not waiting to give you anything. It doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you recognition, but it will bow to consistency. It will yield to power, and that power begins in the mind. So take the throne. Control your thoughts before they control you. Dominate your emotions before they dominate your destiny. Discipline your habits before they destroy your future, because you only get one mind, and with it you will either build heaven or survive hell. You will either die full of regrets or die having lived every ounce of potential your soul came here with. You were not made to be average. You were not born to follow. You were created to command, to shape this world with your will, your vision, your mind. So take this moment, burn it into your memory like fire on stone. Let this be the day, the exact second you looked the chaos in the eye and said with calm, unshakable certainty, I am no longer ruled. From this moment forward, I rule. Control your mind or be controlled. The choice is yours, and now make it. Live it, be it. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're distant, intense, too focused, and you'll nod quietly because they're right. You have changed. You've stepped out of the fog. You've risen above the noise. You've taken the crown of your own mind and placed it firmly on your head, not with pride, but with purpose. And purpose doesn't shout, it moves. It wakes before the sun. It works in silence while others post empty promises. It practices while others party. It sacrifices the now for the forever. And make no mistake, this isn't about perfection. This is about pursuit. A relentless, no-compromise pursuit of the man you were born to become. The man who doesn't flinch at failure, who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't shrink when life gets brutal. Because life will get brutal, and most will run, they'll go numb, they'll blame, they'll distract. But you will stand, you will face, you will endure. because your mind is no longer a glass house, it's a fortress, built brick by brick with focus, with repetition, with iron discipline, not just for you, but for everyone who follows your path, everyone who needed someone to go first to prove what's possible. And now that someone is you. You may not see the results yet, you may still feel the old voices lurking, but every choice you make in control, every day you rise with intention, every second you fight back the easy path, you are winning. Not just in the outer world, but in the invisible one, the one that matters most, the one where all change begins. This journey will test every cell in your body, but that's what makes it worth it. You'll discover how much power you've been sitting on all along, how much energy was wasted in doubt, how much greatness was buried under comfort, and you'll dig it out. You'll drag it into the light, you'll forge it into legacy, because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs you, clear, focused, grounded, unstoppable. And if ever you slip, if ever you feel the old you whispering again, remember this truth: no man is born disciplined. He becomes it. No man is born powerful. He builds it. And no man is born free until he controls his mind. This is your mountain. This is your fire. This is your crown. You earn it every day, not with applause, but with action, not with talk, but with transformation. So rise, king. Rise like the sun you command. Move like the storm you've mastered. Speak only what aligns with your vision. Think only what builds your empire. And act only in the name of your highest self. You are not your feelings. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You are power. You are principle. You are proof that a man who controls his mind controls everything. Now go build it, live it, and let the world feel the weight of a man who chose mastery over mediocrity. Control your mind or be controlled. That's not a slogan. That's not advice. That's the law. And now you know it. The rest is up to you. Walk like it, work like it, win like it. And when you win, don't explain it. Don't justify it. Don't soften it to make others comfortable. You paid the price. You sacrificed the comfort. You embraced the silence. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them guess what changed. Let them gossip about the glow they can't explain. Because what they see is just the result. What they don't see is the war you fought in the dark, the early mornings, the silent nights, the inner battles, the voices you silenced, the chaos you mastered, the weakness you buried. You didn't do this to be praised. You did this because you had to, because something inside you refused to die quietly, because there was a roar inside you too loud to ignore any longer. And now you walk different. You speak different. You move different. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you became better than who you used to be. That's the only competition that matters. That's the only enemy worth conquering, the old you, the scared you, the reactive you, the lazy, distracted, addicted, and small-minded version of you. You buried him, and from that grave you rose. You rose with intent, with standards, with direction. And now you lead, not just your life, but others who never had the courage to lead their own. You became the lighthouse, the example, the voice in the dark whispering, there's more, keep going, don't settle. And even if they never thank you, you'll keep showing up. Because your reward isn't recognition, your reward is alignment. Living in harmony with your deepest values, your truest self, your highest vision, that kind of power can't be faked, can't be borrowed, can't be bought. It must be earned. With sweat, with sacrifice, with solitude. And now that you've earned it, protect it. Guard your peace like treasure. Guard your energy like gold. Guard your mind like a sacred temple, because one weak thought can crumble a kingdom. One distraction can kill momentum. One compromise can cost everything you built. You've come too far to fall back, too wise to play small, too focused to entertain mediocrity. This is the era of no return. Burn the boats, kill the excuses, forget who you were, and own who you are becoming. A man of substance, a man of steel, a man of silence and success. Let others chase quick dopamine. You chase dominion. Let others waste time proving themselves. You prove nothing, because your results speak. And when the world tries to pull you back, remember, you didn't come this far to blend in. You came to break patterns. You came to raise the standard. You came to rebuild a legacy from the ashes of the man you used to be. So keep walking, keep working, keep building, and let your silence become the loudest statement the world has ever heard. Because the man who walks in silence walks with God. Not the God they taught you to fear, but the God that lives inside you. The one who doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't need applause. He whispers in storms. He moves in shadows. He builds warriors in wilderness. And he chose you, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing to walk alone, willing to stand when knees buckled, willing to speak truth in rooms full of lies, willing to kill the old self so the real one could finally breathe. That's why you were tested, not to break you, but to forge you, not to punish you, but to position you, not to silence you, but to teach you that silence is power, that real men don't need to be seen to be felt, that real strength doesn't perform, it radiates. Now look at yourself, not with pride, but with clarity. You've buried the coward, you've murdered the victim, you've outgrown the old skin. And the man who stands now, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't run, he doesn't explain, he executes with quiet resolve, with focused fire, with divine discipline. He understands. You don't get the life you dream about, you get the life you discipline yourself into. And the price? It's steep, it's lonely, it's silent. But the reward? Oh, it's eternal. Because every man dies, but not every man wins. Not every man lives full and dies empty. Not every man silences the noise inside long enough to hear the voice of greatness calling him up that mountain. But you heard it, and you answered. So don't stop now. The mountain's steep, climb it. The world's loud, silence it. The distractions are endless, ignore them. The finish line, it's not out there, it's in you. Because true victory was never about the money, the fame, the applause. It was always about this. Who did you become when no one was watching? What did you build when no one believed? What fire did you keep alive when the whole world went cold? That's your legacy. That's the echo you'll leave behind. Not in noise, but in impact. Not in volume, but in vibration. Not in hype, but in hearts changed quietly by the way you lived loudly without ever saying a word. Welcome to the League of the Silent Winners, the kings without crowns, the wolves without noise, the men who mastered the hardest art of all, the art of silence. And they won without saying a single word. But here's the final truth. The man who controls his mind does not need applause. He doesn't seek validation. He doesn't wait for perfect timing. He is the timing, he is the force, he is the cause behind the effect. When the storm rises, he doesn't run, he walks into it, because he knows that the calm he has mastered inside can silence any chaos outside. He doesn't talk about his next move because his discipline speaks louder than any plan ever could. He doesn't complain about the unfairness of life because he's too busy shaping life on his own terms. He doesn't worry about motivation because he's driven by purpose, and purpose doesn't flicker like emotion, it burns. The world will offer you 1,000,000 distractions, 1,000 temptations, endless noise. But the man who controls his mind filters it all through his vision. While others chase dopamine, he chases dominion over himself. While others fear judgment, he fears regret. While others scroll endlessly, he builds endlessly. While others seek to fit in, he rises to stand alone. The mind is a battlefield. Every thought is a soldier. Every decision is a command, and either you lead or be led. Either you train your mind or your mind will trick you. You'll convince yourself to play small, to procrastinate, to doubt, to delay. You'll create stories, excuses, justifications, and every time you do, your mind will win and you will lose. But if you seize command, if you stand like a general over your own thoughts, if you discipline your reactions like a soldier under fire, then no man, no failure, no fear can control you. Success is not an accident. It is the result of intentional thinking. Power is not inherited. It is earned in the furnace of mental clarity. Freedom is not granted. It is fought for inside your own skull. Do not expect peace from a mind you haven't trained. Do not expect confidence from a soul you haven't led. Do not expect success from a life you haven't envisioned, committed to, and bled for. Control is not domination. It is direction. It is choosing where your energy goes. It is aligning your thoughts with your values. It is walking into each day like a warrior, not because life is easy, but because you are ready. You see, the mind left on autopilot becomes your jailer, but the mind placed under command becomes your greatest ally, and the man who learns to lead his mind can lead his destiny. You were not born to be average. You were not meant to be muted. You were not designed to be distracted, manipulated, addicted to the opinions of weaker men. You were meant to be awake, sharp, focused, driven, alive in your purpose, a storm of intent, a fire that moves quietly but changes everything in its path. So rise, not with noise, but with clarity, not with anger, but with conviction, not with pride, but with principle. You are not your doubts. You are not your past. You are not the voices that never believed in you. You are the mind behind the machine, the soul behind the vision, the leader of the war within. Control your mind, or be controlled, but choose now, because every second you delay, every excuse you entertain, every moment you let weakness decide is a moment you hand your life to something lesser than who you truly are. Take it back, take command. Train your thoughts like a warrior. Discipline your emotions like a king. Lead your life like it was meant to be legendary, because it can be. It should be. And if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to control the one thing no one else ever will, it will be. If this video cracked something open inside you, don't ignore it. Like the video, if you're done being a prisoner of your own mind, comment, "I'm taking back control," to declare your first step, and share this with someone who's losing the silent war in their head, because every second you wait, your mind is deciding who you'll become. Control it or be controlled. There is no middle ground.